Thank you. So yeah, Gwen is a beautiful dancer healer. I just love it. I love introducing people. Like, oh, dude, you guys have to talk, and you have to talk, and whatever. And so Heather and I got to be on the Bliss cruise together, and it was really amazing. I wasn't sure I was going to dig the cruise, but I loved it because you're kind of in a cocoon together, and I fell in love with these women and a few husbands, not like that, but and so one of the things I learned about cruises, and Heather's doing one that's coming up. One of the things that's great about cruises is you don't have to pay. If you have an event at a hotel, it's like coffee is $1 million, and you can't bring in outside food, and even water's expensive. And when you do stuff on a cruise, you get rooms for free. You don't get upcharge. And so I thought, wow, that's an interesting concept. And I taught humor on the cruise, and I loved it. And so I want to keep adding it in whenever I can, because a couple of reasons. Number one, people are scared to be funny right now because the woke, and people are super hypersensitive. So it can be like, ah. So I will say, when I'm speaking for people who don't know me, I'll say, okay, look, I'll set up the context. We only have a little bit of time today. I want our time to be super valuable. I don't want you to, oh, good, cat's here. Um, I don't want you to just be like, oh, that was nice. Now where's the chicken? I need a drink. Golf clap, golf clap, golf clap, right? Hello, Kat. I'm so excited that you're here. Kat, I want you to meet I know you know Gwen, and this is Heidi right above you on the square. I think of Hollywood Squares. So, so I will set up the context. We're just talking about speaking. So sometimes I'll say I'm a little bit spicy, and because I'm passionate, and I hope that that's not offensive to you. I'm just passionate about what I'm talking about because I want to make a difference. I want to use my story for good. And so if I come across as preachy, please forgive me. Or I use humor, and it's not to offend, but it's to help you remember things. And I never make fun of other people. I just like to make fun of myself and my family, because God knows, right? I said this earlier today. I said, people ask me, Elaine, are you Irish? Are you Scandinavian? I say, alcoholic white trash Texan. My family does donuts, double wides, and divorce, baby. And then they're like, well, did you have an oil rig? Did you ride horses? I'm like, I did not have an oil rig. I did ride horses, and I was married to my cousin, but only for a week. So that's how that goes. So anyway, here's why I love adding humor, because it helps people laugh and breathe, and it helps them remember that you're human. Because when we first come on stage, and this is so important, is when people first encounter us, we're judging and assessing. It's human. I don't care if you meditate and levitate and fart rainbows. If you're so, evolved, we still judge people. It's just our human nature. It's how we survived as a species. And so when you first step onto a stage or onto a screen, there's a part of people that are going, can I trust this person? Are they congruent? Stranger danger. And they're judging and assessing. Look at her hair. She has curly hair. Why doesn't she do something better with it? Oh my God, or whatever, right? And so when you can crack a joke at yourself or something, it shows your humanity. It shows that you have a sense of humor about yourself, and people are going to immediately, they'll be able to hear you more. And it's counterintuitive, right? Because if we're nervous, a lot of times I want to be like, I've got it all together. Let me show you how polished and cool I am, right? It's like this counterintuitive thing. So I think it takes practice to show up and be vulnerable and still credible at the same time. But that's one reason I love humor, because I feel like we all need it. And so obviously you don't want to make fun of religion or anybody else or anything in bad taste. That's why, what's the deal between cat lovers and dog lovers? It might be considered hacky, but it's safe. You could make fun of dad jokes. You could make fun of airplane food. You could make fun, like anything to do with yourself. So I'm going to demonstrate some other things, but don't be afraid to be a shepherd of humor. This is a lot of speakers will use funny signs, funny signs taken out of context, right? Like sometimes people have the silliest signs. You can make fun of a meme. So, I just encourage you, you do not have to become a stand-up comedian and quit your day job. But there are lots of ways you can add humor. And, Heather is doing that. We're working on our signature talk, and that's part of her brand anyway. But if people perceive that you can be fun and credible, oh my God, whoa. So awesome. So then, and let's talk about the law of familiarity, right? Have you ever done that? Like, that's how I decided to work with Katerina. When I first met her in the beginning of the COVID thing, a part of me was like, who is this lady? Bing, bing, bing. A part of me was like, I don't really know, like there was a part of me that was like not super open. And I was like, I had never I'd never worked with anybody like her. And so I was a little bit like, hmm. And I didn't like, I wasn't repelled, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm in love with, I was just like, huh, interesting. And then, so I like had this experience. I saw her speak on Zoom, blah, 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 blah. Then I went to something else and people were like going, Katerina is amazing. And they were just raving about her. And then I meant some other community thing. And I heard more people ranting and raving. So that's a great example of social proof. When you have people that are like, she really helped me. I love her. This happened, this happened. And so by the third person, I heard ranting and raving about her, I'm taking notice. So then when I saw her speak a few months later, I was an insta yes. And so that's one reason I love talking about short form video, not just for yourself, but for your clients, right? And so here's another, this is the super tip alert to use what Katerina uses. So when I have hair and makeup on, I really try to make a video, take a picture, do something, because I invested the time and energy in this face, however frizzy or whatever. And sometimes I will remember and I will make a video testimonial for somebody I've worked with, somebody I have worked, even if we haven't officially coached together, but I've experienced them, I will make a video testimonial for them. And, and it's simple, like, hey, I just wanted to give a shout out. I've been working with Heather Zeitz Wolf, and she is so amazing. She helped me not have a heart attack over looking at my numbers. In fact, my anxiety has gone way down, and I actually have made it into like a game. And so if you have ever been traumatized by bookkeeping or your numbers or business stuff, I highly recommend working with Heather and getting into her membership, because it really will change your life and you won't be all alone freaking out under your desk, which is what used to happen to me. I'm exaggerating, but anyway, so anytime I have hair and makeup, I try to do that for somebody else that I've worked with, because that's just like the best gift ever. Obviously you need to know them, so you're not just making up stuff, but that's an example of how short form video, I think sometimes we accidentally overcomplicate things when we're confronted as human beings. We accidentally make them harder than they have to be because it feels vulnerable. And so, that's why I'm like, Zoom is great, but you can also do short form. Sometimes I will, if I'm in like a fun, happy mood, and I want to do content, sometimes I'll put on my Zoom. I'm not using correct light right now, and I will talk into the camera and say another reason I love short form, and then I'll pause the recording, and then I'll think about, okay, what's another super tip? Or let me think about, who's another? I have a new client. What are they getting? Oh, and then I'll talk into the camera again, So I encourage you, the more you think about short form video, there's lots of ways to make it work for you. Make it work for you, right? And, if I don't know about you guys, but during the week, sometimes I'm on Zoom from like 6 a.m. and I take, I love what I do. I worked on my birthday because I love what I do. Right. I was like, I did not do my taxes. I did not start to work on my taxes because I was like, it's my birthday. So that's on my list for this weekend. But some days it's like back to back to back to back to back. And so the thought of like adding on, and now you want me to make content at the end of the day, no, I am I'm slower, I'm cranky a little bit sometimes, I'm spent. I gave it all. I gave at the office, right? And so that's why I love shooting stuff on Sundays or Saturdays, or if you have a day where you're just kind of more relaxed, and so you can, be more of like, hey, this is me. I'm just leaning in. I'm talking to my friend Heather. Heather, I've been meaning to talk to you about your breath. Have you tried Colgate? Just a joke. Thank you for laughing. But, it helps me drop in. I did a ton of commercials, not a ton, not enough. Not the huge national ones where you get millions of dollars, but like the regional ones that nobody hardly sees. That was my jam. But, you learn to look into the camera and think of that one person you're talking to, your friend, and you get better at it by doing it, because it is a little strange, right? When I first started doing live video, I was so used to working the room from comedy. And my friends were like, "You're making me dizzy. Stop doing that." So, it's just this habit to want to connect with everybody. And so that is one thing I learned to like plant. Gwen knows about that, right? Plant yourself and really lean in and talk. And that is a great way, right? Okay. So short form video. And Heather has raised her hand. Yes, Heather.
So going back to the question or the statement about shooting a video for like a testimonial for someone that they didn't even necessarily ask you for, maybe they did and maybe they didn't. Are you posting that on your own thread? Or are you giving that to them to post, or kind of
That's a
work either
great
way?
question. So I usually give it to them. And sometimes I will add, it depends on my relationship with them, but I'll be like, hey, I would love to do a testimonial. Is there anything that you need me to say? And this is super tip alert, super tip alert. So whenever you know your people, and you get on the calls, and then you hear that I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I'm overwhelmed, like whatever objectives your people have, in a perfect world, we have testimonials that help overcome those objectives. Like, I didn't think I was going to have time to be in this membership with Heather, but she made it so that I could da, 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 da. And so again, like, yeah, you don't want to just make random testimonials, but usually you can get a sense of, I know this person, I've seen what they do, and I imagine people think this, and this. And then, so I will usually send it to them via my phone, or WeTransfer is a great free big file system. It's free. You don't have, they're going to try to get you to pay, but you don't have to pay. And it's a great way to send big files. Videos take up a lot of space. And so that's one thing. And then sometimes another great thing, this is a great way to get practice, everybody, is to do an interview. Do a live interview, or you can record it on Zoom. You can say, Heidi, I really want to support you, and I love the work that you're doing in the the world that you are in, with moms, with kids with special needs, and connecting. And also your story, your signature story is so powerful. Let's do an interview. How can I when can we do that? And so you can do that recorded or live. And first of all, it helps your friend. It's good karma. Second of all, it's putting you out another place, right? And I can't tell you what it's like when you go to a new Zoom community and they go, Elaine, I love your Instagram reels. Wow. It is like, oh, okay. It's such an amazing feeling. Or when I get on my Zoom connections with somebody and they go, oh, I've been watching all your videos. And, I'm always like, which one? Like, because I have had, I'm like, I talk about bulimia. I talk about, there's so many different things I've talked about. So sometimes I'm like, which one? But, it's a great thing. And if you're ever made up and you're like, I'm not sure what to talk about, think about what are your FAQs? What do people always ask you, right? So frequently asked questions. This is one of the very best ways to 10x yourself. And I'm not saying we're all building these super duper funnels, which eventually we all will be, But there is a great way that you can do FAQs that you could even put on your website or on LinkedIn or on your Facebook group that you run, right? Hey, this is Kat Mitchell. I'm so excited that you've come to our Facebook group and the community, blah, 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 blah. Welcome, take a look around. This is a safe space, da, 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 da. And, one of the questions I get asked all the time is la, 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 la. And so I just wanted to say, we address that, and it's, whatever the answer is, unicorns flying and rainbows, and everybody is super skinny and they've met the man of their lot, whatever is that you help people do. I'm just playing around, but that's a great way because it shows your credibility. It shows that you're in your people's world. How did she know that I'm always worried about time? Oh, she addressed that, right? Frequently asked questions. One of my other mentors, she says, oh, I get asked these questions all the time. Well, that's insinuating your expertness. It's insinuating that you're a badass. Oh, yes, my team, we get asked these questions all the time. I'm being a little facetious, but does that make sense? Like, you're just showing that you're the real deal. This is not your first rodeo, and this is great. And again, you could shoot these on your phone, right? We're not creating Oscars here. So, I just came up with this new formula. I have a new, she's fairly new to me, and she's a marriage coach, and I'm learning so much. I love it. And she said, I've been realizing all these things are coming up in my head as I'm making this, videos for her program. And first it's the perfectionist. You're not this, you're not that. And then there's the imposter. And so, between the two of them, right? And so one of the things I love helping people do is like turning down the volume. I don't know if we can ever completely ixnay the voices. I've spent a lot of money trying, but I can learning how to manage them. Oh, you know what, baby girl, you're just feeling vulnerable because this is deep work. Right. And sometimes we all do this as coaches, right? Sometimes we just need to get the conversations out of their heads for them to go, oh, this is right. Get the skeletons or whatever. And I was reminding her that she's making videos for her program. So I said, people already bought from you. So they're already on this journey with you. So I'm not saying show up with broccoli in your teeth, but there's a different vibe than, hey, welcome to my TikTok channel, or hey, there's the outside people who don't know you yet, and then there's the inside people. And so for me, that helps me kind of free up, right? They already know, like, and trust you. So did I answer your question enough, Heather? Cool. Awesome. And then, this bears repeating too, because we do versions of this in short form, but our brains, we are bombarded, right, with information coming at us constantly. Buy this, you need this. If you don't have this, do this, move your body, don't do that. Blue glasses, pink hair, right? So our brain all day long is going, do I need this? Is this important? I don't know. It's not, I can't even file this. Oh, IRS, woo, woo, ring. Okay, pay attention to that, right? So, and the brain, think about how tired our brains are, right? So how do we capture respectfully? How do we stop the scroll and capture people, right? To say, this is worth it. This is worth it. Well, we do it, we pattern interrupt, and we give value, information, plus emotion. If I'm just saying, hey, buy my stuff, did you know that 141% people are more likely 141% more of the time to buy something once they watch the video? And, that's like, okay, well, that's a statistic. And that has left me, I'm changing the channel. I'm continuing to scroll because I don't care. But if I say, wait, stop, here's the deal. Your stories change lives, and I can show you how. And let me tell you about my badass friend, Kat Mitchell, who has this amazing story, and we saw her come alive on the cruise and la, 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 la. Like, I'm telling you a story. I'm painting you a picture. Oh, and by the way, here's some information. Information plus emotion equals long-term memory. And this is what they say in Toastmasters. People will forget what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel. And I love to ask people what their takeaways are, because I'm always amazed at like what really struck out to me sometimes is a completely different thing for my friend. So you never know what space people are in. I believe sometimes we're listening for certain things, right? And so when you can share stories about your work and your people, that's, that's cake, right? And a lot of times motivational people, sometimes, I don't think this would ever happen with you guys, but sometimes motivation people will get a little too married to their own story. They get a little too into it, and they tend to make themselves the heroes. And what I'm encouraging all of us to do is to make our clients the heroes and the work the heroes, right? Like Heidi is a hero to me, a heroine. And you are also really all about Ethan and his message and helping other mothers, especially who've been on the journey that you've been on, right? You're not going, even though I know your story and it's pretty fucking badass, if I may say so, but you don't come out there like, I'm the, and, but I think it's just a great important note. We want to make our clients the heroes and the work that they do. And I'm so happy. I've been hearing this more and more about, I just hold the container, I create the space, and they come do the work. I used to say that and people would look at me like, she's a little too woo, but I'm hearing that more and more. I think more and more people are getting it, or maybe I'm just in more congruent circles these days. Okay, so we have talked about, and when I say short form, 58 seconds or less, yes, the platforms are letting us do 90 seconds. And, if you're really in the middle of something and you want to keep going for 90 seconds, awesome. I say when you can chop it, less is more. And whenever you're shooting, and, lately I've been shooting on my phone, and that way I can go into CapCut, CapCut. It's a free app. I really like their editing stuff. Now, I first learned short form in Instagram. However, when you make something on Instagram, you need to download it, and sometimes it doesn't save the music or the audio. And so, and you don't want to post directly from Instagram onto TikTok because they don't like each other and they're not going to show it as much. So what I've been telling people lately is shoot on your phone. Hey, this is Kat, and let me ask you a question. La 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 la. So shoot on your phone, and then you can play in CapCut and you can edit. And here's the thing. I used to always be like, take a deep breath. How many of you now, we don't want in short form video, edit the breath out. We want you to stop right away. Hey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered about movement and healing with Gwen Leopard? Let me tell you. So I'm not saying you have to be that hyper, like Erica Gimbel was like, I don't like you on camera. And I was like, okay, I get it. We don't need another Elaine. One is plenty, right? So, your animated, energetic version does not have to be mine. The thing is, we just want to do something to help pattern interrupt it. We can go, hey, have you ever wondered? You can go like this. Let me ask you a question. Like I invite you to play, especially Gwen, you have this movement background and all the things you could start a video where you're like moving your body, and then you're like, when was the last time you played in your body? Like seriously, you can thank me later, but like right there, that's intriguing. I would be like, who is that lady? I need to know her. Where are her video? Let me, because here's the thing, right? We're leaving little nuggets of a story or a tip or a quote, or hey, do you want to? People keep asking me how I became a vegan. The whole story is over on YouTube, but I'm going to tell you one little thing, right? Like, oh, always leave them wanting more. It's an old vaudeville saying. I would kill to go back in time and see like George Burns and Gracie. Like there's some acts where I'm like, oh my God, to see them when they were coming up, but always leave them wanting more. And I'm not talking about baiting and switch, like I'm going to show you how to do blah, 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 but you have to sign up for that. No, not that kind of baiting. We want to give value. We want to give value and we want to trust, right? Like I give a lot. But I know that most people are not going to do videos on their own unless they have some structure or support or help, right? And so I'm happy to give. And you know what? Some people have taken off. I've had a few people that are like, oh my God, I took one thing with you. And but I know that a lot of us, we need accountability, we need structure, we need support because we're busy, we're doing stuff. Okay, so we've talked about short form. And so the other reason is if you're making the short form video on your phone, then you can upload it and, add some captions or you can do the captions in CapCut as well, but you can put it on TikTok. You can put it on Instagram. You can do Facebook Reels and Shorts. You can do YouTube Shorts. What's cool when you upload to YouTube, it automatically puts it in the Shorts section. You don't have to like do any distinction. And LinkedIn is playing, they're playing with video. They say they're getting into video, but it doesn't hurt to have some video on LinkedIn too. And most web designers these days, I always tell people you don't have to redo your website every few years. Like that's a big thing, but you can upgrade it. You can update it. Websites are not quite as important as they used to be because people want to know that you have them, but it's also about like your presence, the other places, right? And so, but any decent web person, I have a great person, can add some video to your website without having to reinvent the wheel. So that's another reason to get comfortable and have fun on camera. Can I get a whoop, whoop, whoop? Okay, awesome. So another reason I love talking about video is that it helps you be a better speaker. Now, obviously, when you're speaking on stage, you're not just focusing on this, right? You're doing what I was doing before. So that is the distinction. But what I love is you get to practice. What do you do when the light goes on? Inside, right? You get like, oh, I need to have water because I get excited and dry. Okay. Oh, you know what? I do not need to have an extra cup of coffee because my adrenaline is kicked in. And I'm going to learn from Elaine, who one time drank a Red Bull before a big comedy competition, and it did not go well. It did not go well at all. It was painful. Antihistamines, not good. Anything that speeds you up in your regular life, you might not think about it because you're nervous and distracted. Don't do it. Have the runny nose because anything that's going to be like, me, steroids, not that anybody takes those on purpose, but like I have made every mistake in the book so you don't have to. Because, a lot of times when we're stressed or excited / nervous, I know I want to reach for something. I'm uncomfortable. I want to reach for, I need more coffee. And I learned from auditioning in New York City for years and years, I learned that even if I was exhausted, I could feel the adrenaline before I went in the room and it would carry me. Now, that's not the healthiest way to live. I'm not encouraging that, but knowing what you do under pressure, like that's really the keys to the kingdom. I'm teaching short form video, but I'm teaching you how to navigate yourself, how to deal with imposter and super critical, whatever, the peanut gallery. I'm teaching you, oh, okay, so I'm not even going to have coffee until I do blah, 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 blah. Oh, I realize I have on this super tight dress. I can't catch my breath. I'm never wearing this one again. Oh, I thought this looked cool, but on camera, it looks weird, right? You always want to test things. So that's another reason I love teaching short form because it helps you be visible in so many other ways. And just think, if you're doing video once a day, let's say you batch on Sundays. Let's say you make 10 short videos every Sunday, which that's a lot. And then you can drip them out. Let's say you did that weeks in a row. Let's say you batched on Sunday and then you did some kind of live interview once a week. So you know, let's say you did that for a month, you are not going to be the same person. You're going to be a whole other level of confidence. Partly is you're going to get used to hearing your voice and seeing this is what I look like on good days. And, and part of that is just getting used to hearing, oh yeah, this is what I do. Right. Very rarely do I have somebody go, oh my God, I love the way I look. Oh, I love the way I sound. No, nobody is like, maybe if you're Marie Forleo and she is perfect and beautiful, I can't relate to her, whatever. But nobody's ever like, oh, yes, I love, Meryl Streep does not watch her own movies. Meryl fucking Streep, right? And so when you can do it enough with this muscle and realize, okay, this is me. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is the best prayer ever, ever, ever. Okay, so we've talked about the different types, the different ways you can upload. You could also put frequently asked questions on a playlist on YouTube, which is great. So, you know what? I'm going to give you guys, here's another super tip alert. So years ago, I was building my brand and somebody said, Elaine, you should be having videos on YouTube. You should be making videos to show your expertise and to address things. Now, this was 5 years ago. And I did it. And I talked, I rambled a little bit. Some of them were too long, but I've kept them up there. And let me tell you, it's okay. Yeah. Heather, get up, move your body. She's doing tax things and shake it, baby. Shake it off. So if you go on my my YouTube, you'll see there are like 100 videos. And yes, some of them are rambling. And yes, I should probably re-edit them, but it just has not been a priority. But it's a great way. You meet somebody, you're networking, Gwen, and somebody's like, oh, I've always wanted to learn more about modern and body work. And you can say, oh, well, I have a great intro video. If you go here, in fact, let me just send you the link right now. I can text it to you. That is like bonus. You just showed you're credible. This is not your first rodeo. You have a library of stuff. And now that person has an opportunity to consume you once they're done with the thing, right? So this is another thing I've learned from my mentors, from Katerina and Noreen. We want to be resources for people. Obviously, we're resources for our clients, and we want to be resources for our prospects, right? We're dating. We don't just meet them for coffee and then go home with them. I mean, in my 20s, that's a whole nother one-woman show. That was a joke, sort of. But, we're dating them. We want to say, oh my gosh, Gwen, it was so great to see you again. I'm going to send you this humor report because you said you want to add some humor. So I made that humor report probably 10 years ago, but it has some really great tips in it. And especially if you're trying to pattern interrupt and add more humor into your daily life, I love to print things that are going to remind me, right, in the sea of electronic stuff. So anyway, so another reason to feel confident or work on confidence on camera is so that you can be building a library. And you may be going, this sounds like so much, but it can be shorts. It can be your Wednesday wisdom. Hey, I'm going to make a Wednesday wisdom tip on this is what I'm noticing, a theme with my clients. There's a lot of imposter syndrome going in. There's a lot of blah, 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 blah. And I just want to address that. You're not alone. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Then you can post that on social media. You can also put it on YouTube. And here's the other thing about YouTube. It's the #2 search engine. Oh my gosh. Now, do I need to optimize mine? Yes, I've got some new guys that are coming to help me. Am I an expert on YouTube? Absolutely not. But I am good enough is good enough, right? So I have 157 subscribers. I have some views with thousands, some views in the tens, but you can see me. You can see that this is not my first rodeo. You can see that I've been speaking for a long time. So it's credibility. And, if I was saying I will help your YouTube go viral, then I wouldn't have the credibility. But you see what I'm saying? It's just another way for people to check you out and go, wow, she's done a lot. Oh my God. Like, Heidi has been on a ton of podcasts, and you're really good at your marketing and putting things out there and being consistent, right? Here's another cool thing about short form. So I have been so busy, thank you God, with clients and things. I have neglect, and I have a new VA that I'm getting up to speed. So there's been some, and so I was looking on my Instagram the other day. I was teaching somebody, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have videos that did not hit, and now they're in the thousands. So to me, this is a great lesson in being consistent. And here's what happens. We spend money or we spend time. Okay, I'm gonna make a great reel. I'm gonna change hats. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna dance to music and caption, whatever you feel like you can do that's part of your brand. And then we do it, and we're like, 10 people saw it, 10 or 20 or whatever. And then it can feel like a big letdown. But don't get attached to those numbers. Being consistent is so much more important, because sometimes they're vanity numbers. Sometimes the algorithm waits to push you out. That's what I'm finding when I was going through my Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's been pushing me out and sharing me more. And so being consistent is just that much more important. Don't get caught up in the roller coaster of metrics and numbers. And there are a lot of Instagram influencers who spend a lot of time and energy, and they're not making any money. So we don't need thousands. We just need a few hundred of our most perfect, ideal people to serve and grow with, right? And I think it's easy. I know I have an ego that's like, I want 1,000, but at the end of the day, I want to have a sustainable business, and I love the work that I do, and I would rather overgive and overpour than be in one of those big masterminds where I got lost. That's happened a lot to me, and that was part of my lesson. And that's one reason I'm committed to like nobody gets to hide. If you're in my world, I will seek you out and text you if you haven't come to class. Good, Heather, stretching. Good. Okay, so I've covered a whole bunch of things. I want to make sure I'm serving you. We've talked about humor a little bit. We've talked about the storytelling, which can be 3 sentences. It can be more if you want. Oh, good. Lots of notes. Cool. I just want to see if there are any questions that I specifically, yes.
So you had talked about doing like batching, which is a
Yeah.
great, I love this idea. The whole thing with videos is always changing, like, oh, what's the hot thing or whatever. But I tend to just like kind of put a camera on it or put my phone on a tripod and just talk to it. But I've seen like gurus speak about it, and it's like, if you change your angle, it's like more, people like the change. Do you have any thoughts on the like changing your angle, or like rather than just being like this, or any tips?
That is a great question. Yes. And there is a saying that the brain likes change every 7 seconds. And so another reason, yeah. And you know what? If you like got a lot of stuff and you just want to go straight on into camera, absolutely. And what's fun is you can throw in other things. Like, you're so creative, right? So there's nothing wrong with doing that a little bit, but it would be boring if all we saw was Heather and with different colored hair. I'm just kidding. But but so one of the things I love doing is I will do, I'll walk in a circle. Notice I have my camera slightly above my eyes, and I'll be like, so another thing I love teaching is that you can give the illusion that you're, so we see the background moving, but we're not making people dizzy, and you can turn slowly. And then another thing is walking and talking. So I will, when I'm in Philly, I stay in this beautiful Society Hill, which is like the fanciest, most like it's gorgeous. And so just the background is like, where is she? So I'll walk and talk about like, and I just found a bunch of videos I forgot I made. So you'll be seeing these, where I'm talking about the golden hour is a great time to shoot when the sun is starting to set, 5 o'clock ish, or now that it's later. That's called the bet. Everybody looks beautiful in that light. And that's why they're always trying to get that last shot on a movie set, the golden hour. Start to look for it. You'll see it. It's magic. So I will walk and talk, and I will in a circle, but sometimes I'll just literally be like this. Hey, have you ever wondered how to make your short form videos more exciting? Well, one way is you can jump around and do different angles and different perspectives like I'm doing right now. And now I'm even doing it above me, but you can see my cleavage, so maybe that's not the best idea. Anyway. So you
Okay,
could,
so you're not even using a selfie stick or anything. You're just using your hand to hold the camera. Okay, or the
yeah.
phone rather.
I
Okay.
You know what? I have selfie sticks. My tripod's just broke, so I need to get some new ones. And that's what to me is fun. Like short form, it's like they want you to be jumpy. It's almost our brain is used to having these sort of, not that they want it all the time, but it's just a great like, oh, right. And then when you're editing, you want to take out the pauses or the ums if you can, right? So that right away we grab them. Did you have another question, Heather?
Yeah, as far as when you go into programs like TikTok or Instagram, how you can put words and stuff, and so like I've tried to be more mindful about like how I frame myself, so that way I can put words in a certain spot. But like now they have the closed caption, which is great, but like when you put words at the bottom, they get cut off, or like sometimes if your caption might be kind of like putting in, it might go in front of your video. So do you have any thoughts, like do you try to keep some room if you're going to have that, or how do you do this?
That is such a great question. Yes. And so here's to me the most freeing part is, again, variety, right? So let's say you made a commitment to do a TikTok every Monday through Friday. So let's say, hey, it's Heather, Monday Motivation. So today I want to tell you about this client who and so maybe you add some like a sticker, super client or Motivation Monday. Maybe that's your title. And then it's just you talking with that. Okay. So that's like a simple, straightforward thing. So maybe Tuesday is Terrific Tuesday. And you're like, maybe you change the background, or you obviously have something different. And you're like, so Terrific Tip Tuesday. People ask me all the time about the numbers, so I'm teaching, I'm giving, I'm being wacky fun, Heather. Okay, so this time you could just do captions, and it could literally start, it could be over your face. I'm not saying to do that all the time, but the rules have changed. And so and if you're giving good value and they see you, but it's okay to cover your face. Not all the time, but it's absolutely okay. Now, and here's the thing, you want to stay in the torso of the shot. So if you put something too high, it gets cut off when people are scrolling. Same with too low, too right, or too left. So I think of it as the torso of the thing, of the frame. Does that make sense? And so I used to think, well, why should I caption it if I'm saying all this stuff? Because a lot of people watch with their audio turned off. People are bored at their dinner. They're bored at work. They're standing in line at the bank. They're on a date, whatever, right? And so a lot of times people are scrolling, they're bored, whatever. So their sound is off. So don't be afraid to let the captions come. I love the captions with the big and the little because my brain loves that. But Erica was like, I hate them. So know your prospects, right? Like if you're working with highly sensitive people, you probably don't want to put those crazy you want to have like very simple ones or whatever. Another thing that I love doing that's slightly more advanced, but you can do like a Zoom where you're just, just recording all this stuff, long stories, and then you can chop it up. And, I used to worry like, oh my gosh, but if I take this out of context, it won't make sense. But you can caption it like the story of da 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 with a caption. And then you're telling the story. And then you can say, stay tuned for part 2. Like you can be super creative if you want. That takes a little bit more of like knowing how to edit and la 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 la. But again, you could do it on your phone. So and TikTok has these crazy title things that you don't have to use, but it's good. Hey, entrepreneurs, attention, female badasses. So I invite you to be creative, right? Hello, goddesses. Ooh, she called me a goddess. Tell me more, right? Yeah, and so I always think, how can I add some play with this, right? And then I just think of variety. So if I just did a caption on Terrific Tuesday and it was all over my face, maybe I'm going to do one on Wednesday where I'm over, where I'm over here, and then we can put the captions here. Does that help? Does that make sense? Cool beans. Awesome. And then, again, another way is like do an Instagram live and bring somebody up, bring a fellow colleague up and talk for 5 or 10 minutes. You're boosting them, they're boosting you. You can share it. It's generous, it's loving. Yes, Gwen.
Hey there. So yeah, great information. Absolutely loving it. I'm just, I'm not watching because I'm typing.
Oh, yay.
When it's like, I get a lot of this stuff, but it's the editing. So you're talking about CapCut. I know I tried doing one in Instagram once when I was in Montana and it disappeared. So obviously I didn't know the final piece to actually make it go live. So I haven't done any reels. I just, I know that I keep being pushed. Instagram, go to Instagram and do these reels. And yeah, and being able to, I love that you're saying shoot them on your phone and batching them, and then that you can put them on all the social and love that that YouTube will actually put them in a short form. That's amazing. But the editing.
Yes. That's a great question. And I'm going to address that. And one of the other things, yes, Gwen, you're so visual with your movement and your colors. I'm going to, second that. And the thing about getting the algorithm, we want to, be friends with the algorithm. So one of the best ways is, let's say hypothetically you shot a video either on your phone or you did it in Instagram and then you saved it to drafts. Before you post anything, you want to go on Instagram and you want to spend 5-10 minutes, yay, high-fiving your people, commenting, saving, liking, yes, I love this. Thanks for reminding me. You want to show the algorithm that you're on the platform, that you are, you're not just a fly-by Nancy that comes on once a year, right? So you want to spend 5 to 10 minutes. It can be longer if you're bored or something, but you want to spend at least 5 to 10 minutes that shows the algorithm you're on this platform. And then you post your thing, and it's more likely to push you out in front of non-followers. So that's how you boost engagement. And then like I have Instagram buddies, right? Like anytime I see Heather, I'm like, woohoo, and saving it. And Heidi, like if I see other people who I know and love, I am loving and supporting their stuff. And I personally, if I see somebody that I do not comment. I'm like, no comment, because I don't want to add. I don't need to be right. I don't need to, like, that's just like, I don't want to give this person more energy or whatever. There's, whatever. So that's sort of my rule. And so, okay. So let's make a super quick Instagram reel, and we're going to pray to the Instagram gods. This is good practice for everybody, okay? So bring up your Instagram, the purple and orange thing. Oh, look, there's Katerina. Heidi, I don't know if you've met Katerina, but she's just the bomb. You'll have to come to the next event. Okay. I love it. Heidi and I run in many of the same circles. Okay. All right. So we're going to go onto our page, right? And it's your thing. If your picture is on the lower right and the upper left, that means you're in your profile. Okay. So now we're going to hit the hot cross buttons, upper right. And it's going to bring up create. And you're going to press reel. And then you should have something that looks like this. Okay. And I'm realizing we're running out of time, so we may have to finish this in the Facebook group, okay? So I'm just going to do this. Hey, I'm making a reel. I'm with my amazing, amazing people here. I'm making a reel. Okay, so I stopped. So do you see how there's a tiny bit of pink that shows? Okay. Now I'm on this angle and I'm making a reel. I'm making a reel. And then I'm going to say this because I'm going to edit it and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, bye. Okay, for the sake of time, so I made two little short things. Now it says next. Do this. Hey, I'm making a reel. I'm with my. So I'm turning down the volume because my own voice drives me crazy, right? So the editor, this is what the editor does. It just starts playing the reel that you just made, right? So I want to edit these clips. On the lower left, it says edit clips. So I can press this and voila. Look at that. So let's say the first was 5.8 seconds. So it gives me this little bar, so I can pull it. See how I pulled it? So I cut off the beginning. Or let's say I really like the beginning, but the end I don't like. So I can pull this and cut this off.
Is there a way to cut the middle?
Not in the thing with CapCut,
Yeah.
you can do it. And
Okay.
I know you may be like, one more thing. I really love CapCut. It's free. You don't have to worry if the platform is having a glitch, because here's the deal. Instagram has 6 versions of itself at any one time, not to mention your iPhone or Samsung might be updating. There's nothing worse than working on a reel and having it disappear. Ask me how I know. One of my clients lost so much stuff. So the platforms are glitchy. So if you're in a hurry and you can't deal with something new, do it in the platform. But if you have the space, I highly recommend CapCut. Is worth just doing some basic things. So
you film it in CapCut, or do you take that IG thing and bring it into CapCut?
I film, if I'm going to use CapCut, I film on my camera. And then
Okay.
I just load it from my camera into
I see.
CapCut.
Okay.
So let's say, okay, the first cut is cool, but the second cut, I put my finger, there was that long stuff at the end. So then I can just go and cut it there. So, I mean, it is amazing to think about. We have our own little studio, and I know it can be daunting, but this is like having your own TV channel that you get to, and you get to create, and not thinking about the whole World Wide Web, but like for your people, Think of your avatar, your beloved avatar, who you love helping so much, right? And so, and then, you know, the other thing I love about this is I can say done. I can reorder. So just like with the apps on your phone, you can just put your finger and then change the order, which is amazing. And then let's say, oh my gosh, I'm almost done with this reel, but then the phone rang and la 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 la. So next, so then you can save to draft and come back. But you have to go. Okay, Heather, thank you. So excited. Text me later if you need any questions about your thing. Okay. All right. She's so fun. Anyway, so, and then one other thing, I talked about batching. So if you batch, which I highly recommend on a day when you maybe have a lighter day, you want to change your tops, because what happens is people are scrolling and let's say they're following you. And let's say I shot 3 videos in this sweater. So if they watched one of them in my sweater and then they see another one, they're going to think, oh, I already watched that. So they're not going to stop. So you just want to change. That's why it's good to change your background, you know, pull your hair up, change your, you know, something, put a scarf on, something that's a visual cue that this is different. Because, you know, think about all the people, all the ways we can help stop the scroll. So, okay, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad we had this intimate, yummy group. And I would so love to talk to each of you. You know, I'm doing a lot of signature talks, plus video series, plus videos for web things. I'm also helping people with their programs if they're wanting to do videos of their programs, like for online learning stuff. So, but anyway, I would love if we could go around and you could tell me what's a takeaway that you're going to put into action right away or soon. Gwen, would you like to start, my love?
Sure, I'm going to do a short form video.